The ballroom at the Riverside Country Club was everything you'd expect from a Morrison family wedding. Crystal chandeliers, gold-rimmed china, and enough flowers to stock a botanical garden. I stood at the gift table, holding my simple white envelope, watching my cousins pile their elaborately wrapped presents into an increasingly precarious mountain. "Oh my God, is that seriously your gift?" My cousin Brittany's voice cut through the classical music like nails on a chalkboard. She pointed at my envelope with her freshly manicured nail, her nose wrinkling as if I'd brought roadkill to the reception. "It's what Madison asked for," I said simply, referring to our cousin, the bride. "A card." Brittany's sister, Ashley, joined in, balancing a massive silver-wrapped box. "Julia, honey, I know the divorce was hard on you, but if you couldn't afford a real gift, you should have just said something. We could have taken up a collection." A small crowd of relatives was gathering now, drawn by the scent of family drama like sharks to blood. My Aunt Patricia, mother of the bride, glided over in her mother of the bride dress that probably cost more than most people's cars. "What's the commotion?" she asked, though her eyes were already fixed on the envelope in my hand. "Julia brought a card," Brittany announced, loud enough for half the reception to hear. "As her wedding gift." "A card?" Aunt Patricia's smile tightened. "Oh, Julia. Dear. How thoughtful." "I mean, I get it," Ashley continued, setting her box on the table with a theatrical thud. "Single mom, teacher salary. Times are tough. But couldn't you have at least gotten something from the registry? Even the dish towels were only $30. "I got her the KitchenAid mixer," Brittany bragged. "The professional series. In rose gold. We went in on the complete Le Creuset set," another cousin, Marcus, chimed in. 8 pieces. The bride specifically requested the Caribbean blue. They all turned to look at me expectantly, waiting for shame or excuses or apologies. I'd been the family's cautionary tale for 5 years now, the cousin who'd married beneath her station, who'd gotten divorced when her husband ran off with his CrossFit trainer, who'd moved back to her hometown to teach high school chemistry because she couldn't do better. "Madison said she didn't need anything from the registry," I said calmly. "That's what brides say," Aunt Patricia explained patiently, as if talking to a child. "They don't mean it. They're being polite. Honestly, Julia, sometimes I wonder if that public school job has affected your understanding of social graces. Remember when she used to work at that investment firm?" Brittany stage whispered to Ashley. "Before she threw it all away to become a teacher? She could have been somebody." "Teaching is being somebody," I said quietly. "Of course it is, dear." Aunt Patricia patted my shoulder condescendingly. "Very noble. Now why don't you put your card over there with the other cards and maybe stop by the registry table? I'm sure there are some smaller items still available. Maybe a picture frame?" "I'm good with my gift," I said, holding the envelope steady. Marcus snorted. "What did you do, Julia? Write a really heartfelt poem? Maybe a coupon for free chemistry tutoring?" The laughter rippled through the gathered relatives. Even the photographer, who'd been setting up for group shots, seemed to be suppressing a smile. That's when Madison appeared, radiant in her designer wedding dress, her new husband Tyler at her side. She'd heard the commotion and came to investigate, her expression curious rather than concerned. "What's going on?" she asked, looking around at the circle of relatives. "Nothing, sweetheart," Aunt Patricia said quickly. "Just discussing the lovely gifts everyone brought. Brittany got you that KitchenAid mixer you wanted." "Oh, that's sweet," Madison said politely, but her eyes found mine. "Julia, you made it." She broke away from her mother's protective hover and hugged me tightly, careful not to wrinkle her dress. Madison had always been different from the rest of the Morrison cousins. Kinder, more grounded, less obsessed with appearances. "I wouldn't miss it," I said, hugging her back. "You look absolutely beautiful." "Is that for me?" She noticed the envelope in my hand. "Madison, darling," Aunt Patricia interjected. "Julia was just explaining that she's fallen on hard times. We all understand. Perhaps we can open the actual gifts later, at home." Madison's brow furrowed. "Actual gifts? Your cousin brought a card," Brittany explained with false sympathy. "As her wedding gift. Just a card." "An envelope," Ashley corrected. "Probably has a $20 bill in it if we're lucky." Madison looked at me, then at the envelope, then back at me. A small smile played at her lips. "You did what I asked." "Of course," I said. "What you asked?" Aunt Patricia's voice rose slightly. "Madison, what did you ask her for?" Instead of answering, Madison gently took the envelope from my hand. The entire gift table area had gone quiet now, everyone watching as she carefully opened the seal. Maddie, sweetheart, her new husband Tyler said softly. Maybe we should. Sure, Madison said, pulling out the contents. Her eyes widened as she read, then widened more. Her hands started shaking slightly. What is it? Aunt Patricia demanded. Madison, you're scaring me. What did she? Oh my God, Madison whispered. She looked up at me, tears starting to form in her eyes. Julia, you didn't. Didn't what? Brittany craned her neck, trying to see. What's in there? Madison held up the document with trembling hands. It's a deed. To a house. In Malibu. The silence that followed was absolute. You could have heard a pin drop on the country club's imported Italian marble floors. That's not possible, Ashley said flatly. Julia's broke. She's a teacher. It's the blue house, Madison said, her voice thick with emotion. The one with the art studio. Oh my God, Julia, it's the actual blue house. I smiled. You said it was your dream to live there and paint. When I saw it was for sale, I couldn't resist. That house, Tyler said slowly, recognizing the address, that's on Carbon Beach. That's a $12 million property. 12.3, I corrected. But who's counting? The explosion of voices was immediate and chaotic. 12 million. Obviously lying. Some kind of joke. Completely impossible. Aunt Patricia snatched the deed from Madison's hands, studying it like it might be written in disappearing ink. This can't be real. Julia, if this is some kind of cruel prank. Call the realtor, I suggested. Deborah Michaels at Coldwell Banker. She handled the sale. Her cards in the envelope too. Madison was crying openly now, mascara be damned. Julia, I can't accept this. It's too much. It's yours, I said firmly. Remember when we were kids? You'd paint in my room for hours, talking about your dream studio by the ocean? You're the only one in this family who kept in touch after my divorce. The only one who didn't treat me like a failure for choosing teaching over finance. But how? Marcus demanded. How could you possibly afford? Oh, that, I said casually. Just a little something from my investment portfolio. What investment portfolio? Brittany's voice was shrill. You're a high school teacher. I am, I agreed. For the past 5 years. Best job I've ever had. But before that, I spent 12 years at Goldman Sachs. Made some lucky investments. Early stakes in Tesla, Amazon, Bitcoin when everyone thought it was a joke. Turned out pretty well. Pretty well. Ashley looked like she might faint. You just gave away a $12 million house. Technically, it's worth more, I said. The art studio was renovated last year, and the market in that area has appreciated significantly. But Madison's not going to sell it, are you? Madison shook her head, still crying. Never. Never ever. This is insane, Aunt Patricia said, sinking into a nearby chair. You let us think, all these years, the comments about your salary, your car, your apartment. I drive a Honda Civic because it's reliable, I said. I live in a small apartment because it's close to school. I shop at Target because their clothes are comfortable. Having money doesn't mean you have to spend it on things that don't matter to you. But we mocked you, Brittany said, her face pale. We said you were poor. We offered you charity. You showed me who you really are, I finished for her. And I'm grateful for that. It made my decision about who to share my resources with much easier. I looked around at their stunned faces, the cousins who'd spent 5 years pitying me, mocking my choices, treating me like the family failure. Then I looked at Madison, who was clutching the deed like it might disappear, her face radiant with joy despite the tears. You know what the funny thing is? I continued. Brittany, that KitchenAid mixer you're so proud of? It's a lovely gift. Practical. Thoughtful. Costs about $600, right? She nodded mutely. That's about 2 hours of passive income from my investment portfolio. The interest I earned while sitting at this wedding paid for your gift 10 times over. But you know what? Your gift still matters, because you chose it with Madison in mind. Just like my gift matters because I chose it with love. I don't understand, Marcus said slowly. If you have all this money, why teach? Because I love it, I said simply. Because when one of my students finally understands molecular bonds or gets excited about chemistry, that's worth more than any stock dividend. Because money is just a tool, not a purpose. Madison launched herself at me, designer dress and all, wrapping me in the tightest hug. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You have no idea what this means. I do, I whispered back. That's why I did it. As we separated, I noticed the photographer had been capturing the whole scene. The gift table crowd was still in various stages of shock. Brittany was staring at her KitchenAid box like she'd never seen it before. Ashley had sat down heavily on a nearby chair. Marcus was frantically Googling Malibu Carbon Beach house prices on his phone. Julia, Aunt Patricia said carefully, as if speaking to a wild animal. Perhaps we should talk. About family. About connections. About how you only want to acknowledge me now that you know I have money? I asked gently. No, thank you. I'm good with the family I've chosen. I turned to Tyler, who'd been standing frozen throughout the entire exchange. Take care of her. And enjoy the house. The sunset views from the studio are spectacular. Thank you doesn't seem adequate, he managed. It's perfectly adequate, I assured him. Madison's happiness is all the thanks I need. As I turned to leave the gift table area, Brittany called out, Wait, Julia, maybe we could. If you ever want to get coffee. I have coffee with my students every Tuesday, I said. They're doing a fundraiser for new lab equipment. You're welcome to contribute. Every dollar helps. The reception continued, but the dynamics had shifted completely. Relatives who hadn't spoken to me in years suddenly remembered how close we'd been as children. Cousins who'd deleted me from social media were frantically sending friend requests. Aunt Patricia kept trying to corner me for a little chat about family bonds. I spent most of the reception dancing with Madison's art school friends, a delightful group who didn't care about my investment portfolio and wanted to hear about my funniest classroom stories instead. As the evening wound down, Madison found me on the terrace, watching the sunset. I still can't believe it, she said, leaning against the railing beside me. The blue house. My dream studio. Believe it, I said. The keys are in the envelope too. It's move-in ready whenever you are. Why didn't you ever tell anyone? About the money. I thought about it. Would it have changed anything real? Would it have made me a better teacher, a better person? Or would it have just made everyone treat me differently for all the wrong reasons? Like they're treating you now, she observed, nodding toward the reception where several relatives were obviously discussing me. Exactly. Although watching Brittany's face when she realized her poor cousin could buy her entire condo building was pretty satisfying. We laughed together, watching the sun paint the sky in shades of pink and gold. You know they're all going to come asking for money now, Madison warned. Probably, I agreed. Good thing I'm very busy with lesson plans and grading papers. Might have to change my phone number too. Such a shame. Julia? Thank you. Not just for the house. For seeing me. For remembering my dreams when everyone else was trying to shape me into their version of success. Always, I said, hugging her one more time. Now go enjoy your wedding. And when you paint your first masterpiece in that studio, I want to be the first to see it. The next few weeks were exactly as predicted. My phone buzzed constantly with texts from relatives who suddenly remembered my existence. Brittany wanted to discuss investment opportunities. Ashley thought we should reconnect over lunch at the club. Marcus had a can't-miss business proposition. I ignored them all, focusing instead on my students and their upcoming science fair projects. The only family member I stayed in contact with was Madison, who sent me daily photos from the beach house, each one showing her joy at finally having her dream studio. 3 months later, at the Morrison family Thanksgiving, I was conspicuously absent from the gathering. Aunt Patricia told everyone I was too busy with my wealthy lifestyle to remember family. In reality, I was hosting a potluck dinner for my students who couldn't afford to go home for the holiday. We ate turkey and shared gratitude in my small apartment, surrounded by periodic table posters and student artwork. One of my students, Maria, asked, Ms. Chun, is it true what everyone says? That you're secretly super rich? I smiled, thinking of Madison painting in her Malibu studio, of Brittany still trying to process how the poor cousin had outdone her precious KitchenAid mixer by a factor of 20,000. I'm exactly as rich as I need to be, I told her. Now, who wants to help me with this chemistry-themed pumpkin pie? I promise the molecular gastronomy part is completely edible. As my students laughed and gathered around the kitchen, I thought about the wedding gift table, about envelopes and appearances, and the price people put on respect. Madison was right. They'd all come asking for money eventually. But here, in my small apartment with my students, talking about science and dreams and futures that had nothing to do with trust funds or beach houses, I had everything that actually mattered. And that, it turns out, was the best gift of all. The kind you can't wrap in silver paper or buy from a registry. The kind that comes in a simple white envelope and changes everything. Even if it's not hiding a $12.3 million surprise inside.